Moment, just like yesterday, Trust and Plug, they started getting this little bit of a comeback at the end. I thought that we might have had a full-on repeat, but finally, M80, they dash the dreams away, they close out the map, and they send us into a third in the series. I mean, man, everyone loves a good fake comeback, right?
Yeah, it's because you heard me. I was like, okay, another fake comeback. Come on. I thought it was gonna be the same scenario for Trust and Plug, but actually, I really like to see this. This is the kind of matchup we expected when we're talking about making it to playoffs. When we talk about the stake or the fear of being eliminated, and it had to be this back and forth, and that's the best way to put how this match went. It was 6-6 on the half. We go into the second one, and M80. It seems like they were gonna get that momentum pretty much unstoppable. They get the bonus round, which was a crazy one, by the way. And it seemed like Trust and Plug were starting to get the read on the C play that the side that M80 were doing back and forth. And so, right when you think that comeback is going to take full effect, or we might be going into overtime, M80, they go for a fast play towards Rubble, and they close it out, now pushing us to a map number 3. Very well done by them. It seems like they were finally waking up, and we're starting to see the signs of life for, honestly, both of the teams here.
Yeah, for sure. I think they were really good ideas that Trust and Plug had in this matchup, especially after they were struggling a bit, I think, with some of that lurk presence that Caillou was able to have as that Viper, is starting to disrespect that wall, forcing M80 to use that utility to re-clear. And that was a big reason of why this ended up getting a little bit closer. But at the end of the day, they pulled out all stops on the side of M80 right when they needed it most to keep the dream alive here, because we cannot forget the fact that, again, it's an elimination and qualification matchup in the last day of Swiss.
Yeah, only one spot for a live broadcast or still a side stream. You know, they're figuring out their spot, but only one spot as far as we're concerned left in the playoffs for these two teams. So to see this go all the way to 3, I absolutely love this, especially too. We highlighted at the beginning of the day, Ash, that this should have been a very close series. And I'm excited to actually see that follow through here.
Yeah, just being able to see it go the distance, right? I think that you also look towards just the success that both these teams were able to find as well. Trust and Flag, they started off really often with that numbers advantage, and it was M80 who's able to have these kind of clutch situations and these multi-kill situations that are able to try and bring that back and bring that back down to earth for them. I think that you look at the numbers here, Chaotic on Trust and Plug played insanely well. It didn't
Mhm.
have like he's very explosive and whatnot. A lot of that has to do with like the setup that he was receiving and everything like that too. But M80, I think there are just really great moments where as a team they were able to counter a lot of the space that he was taking.
It was nice being able to see too that this composition that M80 pulled out, considering it was a little different from the last time we've got to see them here, did end up working out. Because of course, when you are looking at an M80 that's, you know, incorporating Sato and getting warmed up, and then Oki onto this flex roll, to see then this mix up the composition when it's
Mhm.
literally life on the lines, a little scary, but it worked out. They're looking good. And if we're talking about people that are looking good, I mean, we got to go over to the head to head, because we've highlighted these duelists so much in these series. But man, our controller players and just everyone else just popping off here, Dan. I mean, Sacred was somebody last time on Lotus had a fantastic performance, but B Dog, like his bark is loud, his bite even worse.
Yeah, both of the players have been really, really good for the past couple of matches, but especially what we're looking at right now. We talked about B-Dog before playing the duelist, kind of filling out until Sato was able to join this team of M80. And now that Sato's here and he's going crazy in the duelist and he has all the support in the chat, then he can rely a little bit more on that controller. And he was a big part of the impact that M80 had on the second half when they got the bonus as well. In Secret, that is a question that we had too. We had the question of, is he going to be as good as he was yesterday? Is he going to be that X factor for Trust and Plug when the team is struggling a little bit, when the duelists are struggling a little bit? And he continued to be exactly that. When it seems like that comeback was happening and starting to happen, it was a 4K for Sacred that on that C side that allowed them to win a couple rounds, push it a little bit more, even though if they were not able to close it out. I think this is what we want to continue to see on the map of Bind as well, because we don't really know what Trust and Plug are going to bring on this last map to close it out and see if they can make playoffs.
Yeah, I think that's a really big shout, and I guess the reason why we want to highlight B-Dog in particular, while Sacred did have a great matchup, like you're talking about, is one of these plays as well. The TP on top of this door in tree was absolutely insane to catch 2 off guard. A lot of the pressure that he was able to find in like kind of crazy positions like that, and playing a little bit more forward and in that aggressive style, I guess that is maybe part of his original duelist roots that we saw from him, and being able to see that comparison and contrast up against a player who is very like clutch and still impactful in Sacred, and how they are going in that head-to-head.
I mean, this team, I mean, it's got all these duelists that have been repurposed, and the new purpose is just kicking some butt in the server. That was a great showing coming out, and still an opportunity, one more map to try and replicate that, try and get M80 into the playoffs here. We now have to talk about the next map of mine. This one I think is particularly intriguing between these two teams, because if you actually want to call back to what we've seen from them in Challengers here, Dan, well, neither's been the most winningest.
And they haven't really played it as much as they've played other maps. I was just looking at that exactly, and for M80, I mean, last time that they played this map of Vine, it was up against Cuber Academy, and it was a completely different team as compared to what we're looking at right now. I don't think the composition with the club is going to get played once again. I think it's going to be something completely different. In that match, they lost 13-11. And then now looking a little bit about what Trust and Plug has been doing, I think we've already seen the changes from them in the past few maps. And I mean, I still think we're going to be seeing a change here. They were playing the Deadlock, which we're starting to see less and less on Bind. And when it's a decider, when you're trying to make it to playoffs, you're trying to bring something new. You're trying to bring the little things that you've been preparing for the past couple of weeks to see if you can close it out in the easiest fashion possible for both of them.
Yeah, I think the creativity is something to keep an eye out for, right? The ability to kind of catch your opponent off guard. And both these teams, while they haven't had the best results on Bind, they have also been like generally quite close matches as well, up against some pretty decent opponents in Qbert, being, Dan already said the last one that M80 played, but it's actually funny enough, also the last team that Trust and Plug played on Bind here as well. And I think that up against a team like Qbert Academy, who has looked really good on Bind, there's a lot that both these teams can take away as lessons from those losses to propel themselves forward today.
Especially too notably, when we did see the Trust and Plug going up against Qbert Academy, this was also Trust and Plug right after losing Monty, and this was Teague's first opportunity to actually be able to perform. So I need to just, oh my God, fangirl over Dan's cap. So while we do that, we're going to take a quick break. On the other end, it's going to be map 3 of the series. Don't go too far. Just one map remains to separate these two teams. One to make their way into playoffs here in Challenger Split 1, the other eliminated. It's time to start heading over to Buy It into the Agent Select to start talking about what's going to be happening here. We saw these two teams both play up against Cubert Academy, actually, Dan, 2 weeks ago. But 2 weeks in Valorant takes forever sometimes. So I'm curious if we see swaps heading to today.
Oh, okay. We do see it for the side of M80 because when they played this map against Cubert Academy, they did not have Sato just yet. So now Sato's going to be on the Neon. This is how we know Sato. The Neon that was going crazy in Ascension. So I'm excited to see it once again on this map of Bind. But everything else is remaining the same. I was questioning maybe the Deadlock change, but it's going to be remaining the same. And even on the other side, the Yoru and the Clove for Trusting Plug. So you know, I don't see as many changes as I expected it to be, but I really want to see this Neon Unbind, actually.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that. I'm also really excited, honestly, to see Sacred picking up the Clove here. I wonder if it's maybe a question of, okay, you get a little bit of that combo with Jerwin's nades, and then also the opportunity for him to just like pop off because he's playing so well throughout today. So more opportunity for him to frag out. But then there's also the risk of if he doesn't end up having that great of a game, that impact from the Clove isn't going to necessarily be as strong, considering there is less of that opportunity for that stall compared to the Brimstone that you typically see here as solo controller on Bind.
Another thing to call out here too is we do get to see a little bit of a swap from M80 dropping the Tejo. We're going to be going for a Sky v Sky showdown. So I'm excited with all of these changes that we see. So let's not wait any longer to head into the server. One more match here. Be ending off our split 1. So for the final time today, back over to Jen and Vance.
Thanks, Sierra. Yep, one last ride, and it all leads to this. Who will advance to playoffs? And will we go 2 for 2 on upsets today? To not have M80 and YFP in playoffs would be weird. Would be off script.
It'll be an alternate reality or alternative timeline that I'm willing to live. But at the same time, it may happen because I'm not too sure how this composition for M80 is going to run on the attack side. When I'm thinking of a Neon, you're always thinking there's going to be a breach to support into the space that you're trying to get when you're rushing up. Now it feels like there's going to have to be timings from Caillou with the net, and that's going to slow down timings too. And when you're thinking about this is only your second game into M80, you hope that your practice is going to pay off.
Paying off for Trustin Plug at least. We've seen a lot of Clove today too, as Okeanos will get info at Belong and Stay Put with Bow. As Plug will have the usual default, but they're smoked off, and that's a forward smoke too, but Plug now hide their tracks and haven't made much headway since losing that member there. Or taking care of one member from M80 in showers, and continues to go well for Plug after a second pick, and now they want to try and rush through Hookah because of that.
And they will. Easy sight, but 2 players rotated across.
It's tough if M80 can string along some kills, and honestly, the chemistry between B-Dog and Sato was huge. It came down to that last member despite Plug having a 5v3.
And there was still some great trigger discipline coming out from Trustin Plug. When you've gone down 4 versus 5 and you need to find information and you have to jiggle peek for that info for M80, M80 thought that Trustin Plug didn't see them, and they went for the double swing to fight one single player. But Trustin Plug already saw the sleeve of that Viper and just set up right after off the second jiggle. The wide swing coming out from the 2 players. 3-4 players of Trustin Plug were actually waiting for them and greeted them there. Right in that moment, you saw that it was an easy take here for Trustin Plug to just have a nice little steady pistol round as M80 is looking for the play.
A net being thrown, catching M80, and the smoke will separate them, and Plug will take a route through showers and wrap around M80's defense. Now Chaotic tries to get vision as M80 are grouped up between both groups of this Plug attack. And this is a tough one. Chaotic and Sacred doing their best. And Sato's really showing us the power of this Neon.
For himself. He's so good in these moments. Sato, there's a reason why he joined the M80 roster after not ascending with Galores last year. He was putting some impressive numbers going into the Brazilian region, into the Ascension playoffs, and now deserving a spot here for M80. And M80 trying to build their own super team for this challenger scene and hopefully ascend into 2026. That said, though, Trust and Plug, that one grab net that was thrown here by Caillou just in the middle of the site allowed for Trust and Plug to get so much information, and not by Caillou, sorry. But the one being thrown here by Mikey, you heard 3 players pulling out the net, and they knew that it was an easy pinch forward.
Oh, Plug just gonna bulldoze their way through B long, and Bao is not gonna want to challenge that. Caillou ready? Throw a net down, but isn't gonna want to engage that off the orb tap. Maybe trying to play as passive as they can when it comes to the B site.
And the
Plug
idea
grab the
there,
orb, and yeah.
idea from Plug at the very beginning was trying to do that snake bite and grab net to try to overtake Garden, but with the grab net missing, it just allows here for M80 to just reset things in a gun round and have more util to work with on a second push from Plug.
Caillou gets a net and escapes, all thanks to that Viper wall. The Bao's got his back, but can Plug actually get on the hunt and deal with these nuisances? Kind of have to worry about the deadlock util and the sonic sensors. So Plug just gonna abandon that and waiting them as a trap from M80. And Sato's been a huge threat, and it's traded quite well. Sacred is huge.
Dude, from the POV of Sacred, that's 2 single taps headshots.
Yeah, that's insane.
Those ones not as clean though.
That's B-Dog's turn to pop off. He's the alpha, and Chaotix in a 1v3.
10 seconds left.
And just gonna hold on to this rifle, I think. No time to plant.
Yeah, maybe even wants to drop some weapons his own. Because right now, this is a bonus round coming in for Trust and Plug. You could drop another rifle here. You see the economy is very low for M80. So they wouldn't have the best buys going into that round number, or this round number 4. That said, though, you stop the bleeding here for M80. I mean, look at this. I don't know if you're going to get it from the POV of Secret, but look at that. 2 1-taps. And a lot of people are going to say, buff up the stuns. But no, this is a perfect way that you should be able to get denied, but still able to have some sort of 1-bullet accuracy. But to get 2 like that, that shows a lot of skill from Sacred.
This early showers P from M80.
Who's next?
Get a good jump, and the dimensional drip will give a lot more security to Plug to know what's going on. And Jerwin jumps in and off the net. They were hoping to trap M80, and their backs are against the wall. And Plug, well, they're being met by a lot more firepower. But it's still numbers for Plug with a spike about to be planted.
Tried to mud it out too, trying to go for a sky flash and refight through the smoke, thinking that their Euro is going to scare them away. It was a nice attempt here for M80, but Trust and Plug made sure that they had their advantages on the trades.
Caillou and Bao got no util, but they are working swing together. Plug have a nice crossfire going. Gotta take their time, try to isolate as much as they can. Bao gets one, goes for the next, and Teague's now about to get flanked. Oh, from Caillou through U-Haul. And Chaotix not finishing off his food now in a 1v1. Caillou's trying to get it halfway. He's got no HP. Chaotix waits for the perfect moment. And Plug gets it done.
It almost worked out the drive-by too to get that second kill. Allowed for the deadlock for Caillou to know exactly where Chaotix was going to be, but you're playing against time at this point. Very hard for you to try to win that 1v1 at the low HP you're mentioning here, Lemon Kiwi. But overall, again, I love the attempt of trying to fight back, starting with the Sky Flash. But when you're falling behind a Yoru, that allows for everybody else to follow behind him to say, hey, we're going to be ready to trade for all of these. It makes it very hard for M80 with 1 player less to really capitalize on more. You need 1 player to really pop off, but Trust and Plug that allows to get it done. And now you're trying to get early information at least. This wall allows for them to get identification on short A and trying to go for a trap here into showers.
It's quite the stack. maybe thinking about walking up A short, maybe, and
Yeah.
Sacred could definitely challenge this. He has the ult. The catches and the ponytails of Sato ripped off, and Sacred has the ult. Goes 1-for-1 and isn't getting much support. Actually, no, it got wrapped around Shower, so Plug supported him more than enough.
One enemy remaining.
Getting around M80, and I like that confidence from Plug to just flood in as soon as you smelt a weakness out of M80. So it's just Bow now with the share, maybe taken out by the spike or hoping to do damage, but solid start for Plug this map.
Yeah. And M80 looked like they were trying to set up for a Showers play if there was going to be a tap on an orb or if there was going to be first contact from the jiggles into Showers, because you had a grab net set up by Caillou. Sato could have moved forward with the stuns and then just plow in with the stingers. But instead, when the wall gets broken, a call was made here by Caillou to walk back towards her short A to fight against Sacred. And as they lose all that Showers control, Trusted Plug made sure that they were able, to move forward into Showers. And when you realize that there's so much pressure coming through, and the ult gets a lot of information on top of that, well, you could just tempo back from Showers on the attack side and pinch from behind. So a nice little way that they adapted on the fly here for Trusted Plug in the anti-eco. Now they're 4 on the attack side, and M80 still have yet to find an answer here with the Neon composition.
And M80 just not wanting to test the waters, letting Plug make the first move and set their pawns. Dog first from the offense and trying to capitalize on who was going to put the dog down. So some damage taken from Okeanos, and they need him to live, and he's got a flash. Al ready to swing, but he's going to decide to play things passive with the wall up. Let's play off of info. And Plug are back at square one.
With the portal closing, this is going to be slower for Trusted Plug to rescale back around the map. Knowing they can't TP just yet, now they're trying to move into a split towards the B site. Maybe the first contact is going to have to be this Euro trying to push forward, because he's got a TP to escape with.
Seekers, flash, and explosive power of Sherwin connects on the bow, and even the annihilation. Plug just got gifted a lot of kills there, and I don't know if M80 can retake. The smoke is now gone from that back door, so there is a chance. No flank, just sights forward from M80, but just with all of the focus from Plug, M80 didn't have much of a chance.
Yeah, it looked like M80 were just trying to use the last 3 players to go for hero plays. Yes, there was a moment where maybe you could save and just count your losses and try to keep your econ and your rifles into the next round. But when you have players like Sato still alive, like B-Dog still alive, playing from the spawn, and you're going to be accurate usually on these shots where Trust and Plug are probably still trying to set up on the pulse plant, it may turn the tides over on your side to start going for the retake. But the plan overall was just trying to delay off the double ult push by Trust and Plug so that Caillou throws a grab net on the ground to try to cancel out the showstopper. But that will not cancel out the showstopper. Yes, you get grab netted, but Jurin could still let that rocket go, and it gets full value off 1 kill on top of an annihilation coming in from Mikey. This is a timeout right now for M80, that all of these plans that they're currently adjusting in the beginning of these rounds are getting flustered by good individual plays from inserts out from Trust and Plug.
Yeah, there's just like a couple of weak points on the map, being like B long and also A Showers, where M80 can wrap around Showers and kind of bait towards A, or even just straight up jump out of all angles towards B. I don't think Bao and Caillou are doing enough to really limit or even just dwindle down the forces of Plug once they do try to entry into B. So hopefully this timeout they'll decide exactly that and put all the eggs maybe in the Sato overdrive basket, which is posted up at A. Able to grab the orb too, but will be Plug that do get discovered around Fountain from the Skybird, so Okeanos will keep them in check. Maybe M80, these jumpies, that's something they haven't done too much of. Get better info, draw out fire, draw out util, and we can Plug that way.
Thankfully, there's no op on that side, so Okeanos is still able to escape. Right now, you're just hoping that the util out from M80 is still going to help and force players to TP across and take Showers control. Where now you have Sato with the best weapon that you currently have playing close range and the overdrive. So there's a lot of a lot of game plan to try to push them across, which is why you're seeing M80 continue to play forward positions back towards the octagon. But once again, a great read by Trusted Plug in a mid-round.
Wow, the patience paying off for Plug to not immediately press into B. Double kill from Sacred as they grab the orb. And Plug kind of fakes it back and forth with some presence at A, but it shifts towards B, obviously, when you take care of the two main defenders.
30 seconds left.
And now this retake, I mean, the retake has already struggled, and it's got some pretty poor weapons to do it with. So this is Plug on a streak that's just going to hurt M80 more and more.
Just going to say they're going to TP and get stunned right away here by the sonic sensor.
That's some decent damage, but B-Dog did get an upgrade. He could try to save that if he wants, but I believe in the B-Dog 1v3.
Sorry, I chuckled because I didn't.
Oh, I was like...
Yeah, it's
so
so
serious.
Hard. That clock was still ticking down. Smokes were coming up, but I agree with you. At least picking up a weapon and salvaging it into the next round is something very good for M80. But I don't know how many times they could go into, like, oh, they've done some decent damage with the econ, with the ecos, but then when they get back into these gun rounds, it's still Trust and Plug that has a very, very strong and clean attack side. And despite that, B-Dog wasn't able to save his weapon into the next round. But it's still a gun round nonetheless for M80, as they had a thrifty Sheriff buy with one Bucky. But this is where, after the timeout, it gets super important. So you'll probably see Okeanos trying to flash out towards Shower so that Sato could hold that line. And maybe on the side, it could funnel players over on the B site. But you just saw before this replay, a lot of the players from Trusted Plug are setting up here towards Showers. I wouldn't be surprised if they're trying to fight back into the space that Sato gets with the op.
Oh, through the clone too, but hey, it ends up hitting the right target in the end. The 1-to-1. Okeanos versus Mikey. Some assistance from M80 to not let that weak point of Showers go through easily. Now no one else is home. Spike is stuck at A short while the lurk inserted over at B tries to give Plug an alternative.
I was going to say, it's dangerous for Teague to try to do this on his own, as he's gotten the spike. And now with these smokes, actually, maybe they could start scaling up here towards short side, and they'll take U-Haul control for a Plug.
Okay, wrapping around 3A short, M80 leave it open, and now off to flash. Not an immediate challenge from M80, too many smokes. Plug now have time on their side. Not the numbers, but hey, Sacred's got the ult. We'll be back soon, and Caillou still gets the hunt down. It's Teague with no util left. Jerwin with a boom bot coming through Showers. M80 just needing to find these last players, and Jerwin tries to escape and even fires back against Okeanos mid-run. Surely Bao can finish that. No. Wow. Great teamwork out of Plug.
Yeah, and it seems as though off the pulse plant there, you still had one player incident towards triple, and that was B-Dog. He had the orbital strike ready, and they were just trying to find a timing to get back into probably an orbital strike in U-Haul to funnel the opponents back towards the spawn and back towards main. But because Trusted Plug already started pushing towards the spawn, B-Dog canceled it out and tried to go for the instant trade, which didn't allow for him to get full control after towards the site, because I think he got traded right away here from Showers, or at least on the pulse plant area in the front of the site. So that M80 that was supposed to have a set play just got pummeled by the timing from Trusted Plug. And that's unfortunate, because that's putting them back into an eco. And at least to get that kill.
Yeah. You're able to take one weapon, I guess. But yeah, the deficit is just getting outrageous, and this is for a playoff spot. There's the net, and Bao goes to capitalize, and Caillou has to finish the job. There's so many members around the corner. I don't mind the double kill out of Caillou. Definitely dwindled Plug down, and for an eco, this is pretty good from M80. I'll be able to recover those weapons, though, and a retake is tough with a vulnerable ready from Sacred. An orbital strike to try and reestablish as M80 surge in off all the noise, but man, Teague was poised and ready.
This has got to hurt, because again, remember going into the beginning of this season, of the Swiss stage, and even from last year, M80 on this map was a map that they avoided like the plague. They had to play this in the grand finals against 2G. and Bind was still the 5th and last map that was vetoed out, so that 2G could just win it in a sweet note onto M80's worst map. And again, it feels like they were working during the offseason to find solution to have a strong Bind map. And unfortunately, through this Swiss stage, they've played it twice so far and have lost it every single time, and now potentially losing this one against Trust and Plug. This is going to have to hurt the ego right now of these players going round to round and seeing that Bind is still not figured out, despite having a full different roster compared to last year. But they have to find something soon, because if not, they're not making playoffs here for this first stage.
That's going to be tough. I mean, I'm no historian, but I feel like there just hasn't been a playoff without M80 there. And obviously a different roster, but a lot to live up to and a great banner to carry. And maybe a Trust and Plug. I don't know if this is actually a signed banner, but with the little plug guy, I hope they put a cape on him, because this is quite a heroic showing from Plug just to even get to this point, to beat YFP, which that was difficult as it is, and to not only beat YFP, but be this close to beating M80 is such a statement to make.
And when we were saying earlier on and seeing the results of YFP in the previous series, you'd think that maybe Trust and Plug had a fluke the last time, but now seeing this so far, it's so nice.
Chaotic has been fun. Trying to push Showers with different methods, and the rest of Plug push through short, and when Plug want a site, it is hard to evict them. Yep. There is just no notice for M80, and with all the smokes and all the controllers, I don't blame them for struggling to figure out when does it start and when does it end. Bao and Caillou have to come through the B site, Annihilation and Pit, but hey, a 2 versus 3, this is now winnable. A 2 versus 4 is being turned around. Annihilation didn't grab anyone, and it's just Mikey and Showers. Has to maybe pepper down who's inside of this pit. This will give some cover for Bao and Caillou and dissuade Plug from the approach and the jump out. The surprise! Caillou, Bao have done it!
A big round that they needed there for M80, and they've definitely done it so far here for Caillou and for Bao. A second round, and hopefully maybe one of the rounds that is needed here for, well, I like to say maybe a stronger composition that it would have on the attack side because of Sato on this Neon. But if not, when we're talking about aggression on the attack side, they're not afraid here for Trust and Plug. And you're starting to see the value of this Clove here in this composition as well. When you're thinking about other smokes, for example, a Brimstone, you're going to drop these smokes, but it doesn't really allow for you to fight inside the smokes because it's so hazy in there. And if you're going Omen, it's going to take way too long for you to drop the smokes. And if you're playing Astra, then the stars are already going to be a tell that you're executing towards the site. So having a Clove double drop and using that extra obstacle to fight, to take control behind triple and fight behind enemy spawn or defender site, it shows, it proves its viability for Clove in this comp.
Hey, Sato lives on, keeps the op in hand, and he's even gonna test this again against Plug, who know he's there. May not know it's an op, but hey, Plug are taking their time because they're also pushing through hookah, maybe trying to wait out the smoke. Let Teague let it rip. He's forward enough to have a deep flash too. Now the op is definitely there, and Plug lead it with the clone, and Sato stays firm and takes care of 2. And M80's teamwork holds back the forces of Plug at B. It's just Sacred and Teague left. Man, Sato is on one today with these shots. And Teague just has to watch and worry about where will this op come up next. Hey, deny the op. That'll get picked up. Okeanos' turn to have a field day. And the high-low will take care of that.
Ooh, this is starting to look very salvageable, at least for M80. Not necessarily winnable yet. But Sato, when he finally has an opportunity to get a good position, he's going to land those shots. Showers has been a little bit difficult because of the amount of util that's coming out from the Yoru in the sky that seems to be hard to deal with on the side here of M80 for Showers control. So they put him on towards B and see the value that it brings, and they're going to try it again for the last round of the half.
Ooh, you can't lose hope in M80 yet. Look at the confidence building up too, just to early peek B long, something they haven't done too much of, but Plug really prioritize showers when they want A. No one at A short though, so just gonna funnel their way through all into a grab net and flashes, and Plug dismantled, putting all the eggs in the shower basket, I guess. Plug are missing out on a lot and not able to bite back against M80 in any way until Sacred just waits out the barrier, and it's an ace from Caillou. You will not be stepping up on him.
We'll have to see if he's going to get the 6-pack, though, because that was the ult coming out from Sacred. He's already getting forward control. Mikey's the one that's moving forward, has Annihilation to work with, and just hurt the TP. Still has a full kit.
Yeah.
Wait.
No 6-pack, but you still got the ace noise, so
yeah,
it's fine.
I was just gonna say, like, it was nice that Mikey got that first backstab kill onto his opponent, but then trying to run forward with a knife after and not realizing that there could have been some players on the high-low up towards the other side when you have the ult is a little bit questionable, but it's all been salvaged towards the end here for M80. Again, you saw the idea of what they were trying to do since the beginning of the half with the grab net off the top of the orb. And look at how much value it gets by also pulling out the sky on this side with the flash. Beautiful back and forth coming through. Caillou anchors it up. And now this gives some breathing room and hopefully a little bit of that confidence back here for M80 on their attack side.
Yeah, geez, just to put everyone through showers? Like, M80 really believed in that, or Plug believed in that. Either way. Now it's M80's attack this time. And this is where you could see maybe the real potential of the Neon, but not if Plug want to jump out and surprise you first through the teleport. M80 can still stick to the game plan if they want. Still got flashes, and showers is still a priority.
That's a whole break off the read of what M80 is trying to do, setting a sonic sensor in case of a crunch, but it's just a Yoru clone that just engages into the sonic sensor and allows here Chaotic to move through, get a pick, and even TP towards the B site.
Scout destroyed.
Didn't get much, but hey, Bao opens things up too, so that's the go sign for M80 to wrap through U-Haul, and Jerwin is being a tough pill to swallow for sure, and then Mikey will take the helm to take back control of U-Haul, and this is multi-kills coming out of Plug before Okeanos sleeps in a 1v1 against the other Sky. 23 HP against 100 though. He can take his time. Does he want to lead this through the front, wrap through U-Haul? Okeanos only has one place to watch. And Teague knows he has the advantage, even a flash if he wants to, but Teague didn't feel like using it. So Okeanos clutches it.
Oh, that is so good by Oki. Overall, again, the duelist gone initiated. We're playing like a duelist one more time. A very important pistol round by M80 that looked like it was going to get snuffed by Plug in the very beginning on defense with the amount of duels that were being won here on their side. Beautiful first blood. And the amount of times you try to swing through here for U-Haul control. That net from Mikey was huge to get that double kill. But this 14 HP play by Okeanos, the mind games against the IGL on the other end of Trust and Plug. Won here by the ex-duelist player.
Oh boy, Teague trying to escape to maybe a jump spot. He's still got one flash. Jerwin keeps everything in check over at A, but the spike is still set for B. And it's pretty reinforced right now with even a flank from Sacred possibly happening, but now, because of the teleport, M80 heads towards A, and cutting him off could be Jerwin with 21 HP, and they didn't expect it. Beto got his gun out in time. It'll take a second to heal, though. Okeanos gets B-Dog back to full, and
just don't know how we couldn't get a dog to clear the right side, dude. That adds a bit of frustration on my end, but at least so far salvage with Caillou getting that pick onto Secret.
Now the plant and the kills, so now that M80 are stabilized, this is a lot easier of a round. But the chase was definitely on, and liking where Jerwin is inserting himself into corners and catching M80. So yeah, being able to use some util would help M80 a lot, but this is so close, 8-6.
Yeah. And when that mistake happened and he got the instant trade onto Jerwin, I do like the fact that M80 just slowed things down a lot and just try to make sure here where their opponents would be coming from and trying to slow down as much as they could so that Caillou could start activating here from that spawn. He was already watching some late pushes, and he went back for the short A pinch, and it allowed here for M80 to salvage that round in the end. So it works out. But here's a dog now in the bonus round for M80 to try to take U-Haul control. It works out for a grab net there first, but unfortunately the timing from Sato was not quick enough to punish him.
Still map control being earned from M80 if they could get some sights at the back of U-Haul. Oh, some damage. Maybe unnecessary damage from Caillou as he holds back Seekers to give a leg up for M80. Something for Plug to shoot at while M80 press, and no really kills coming out of M80 despite the spike being planted. Now it's Plug that can dog up, clone up, nets, Plug using the util, but the wall was up from M80, so it gave him some protection, and as it dropped, M80 took full control of the round.
Oof, and they're starting to really fight strong in M80 in these rounds, converting their bonus round 2 to break Plug's econ. And this now finally could add a little bit of pressure here onto Trust and Plug to try to clean things up a bit. Maybe, yeah, going into this timeout, definitely to try to discuss it, because the fast tempo out of M80 in these showers pinches are actually quite good. And you already saw what we were expecting before here, 2 rounds ago when they were trying to take control of Long B. You are trying to time a grab net from Caillou from a market throw all the way up to the top B site so that Sato could start running up and sliding in case they hear the net sound, so he could concuss, go up and try to get a pick. So there's still somewhat good ways for M80 to take map control quite aggressively with this composition, and you know that it was built for these fast type of tempos so far here for now the attack side of M80. And already 1 away from tying up the game.
Yeah, and where you set up Mikey will be important to slow down Sato in that case of just where's that barrier, where's the sonic sensors, and usually it's been centered a lot around A showers, but that could change around hookah as well, so we'll see what they can do to limit that neon. But it is quite the streak that M80 are on now, 1 away from annihilation, and just haven't given up, so this will be a dance. Currently that deadlock's set up all around B with the sonic sensors too.
Here it comes.
Teague wanting to get the heads up. There is the net. The dog grabs him, and just by the book for M80. As Mikey has a barrier, has a net of his own to try and limit this, and backup is on the way. M80 prioritized getting orbs, so they immediately flood the site, and if anything, they pulled rotations. M80 could easily teleport, go somewhere else.
Yeah. And you're looking at one of these games where now Trust and Plug are not playing with a Viper. So if they're trying to deny visibility on this aggression coming out here from M80, it's not going to work out always.
M80 didn't pivot. They just waited and then Plug peek and even get back and forth picks. This is now just a team of sheriffs, so nothing to see there. Finally, the M80 teleport goes through.
It's dangerous now, though, because they don't have information on Secret. They can come up huge with this one as well, as he's going for their late lurk towards showers. This may be, like, if he gets a pick, the showstopper can get a lot of value, even though Jerwin's at low HP.
What a win for Sacred. Oh, and there's more around the corner for him to deal with. So Bao Okeanos versus 1, and we're tied 8-8.
Oh, yeah. Thankfully, there was a second player out there for M80 for that trade. If not, you definitely saw the crunch coming through here from Jerwin for the top heaven, and that would have been dangerous there for M80 going up against the anti-eco with their anti-eco against Plug. That said, though, you see that value. The net towards that back, they concuss towards that front, and they dog towards the right side of Octagon. So everything is there that doesn't allow for you to play the game here into the jump spots that you could have on the market side. And that might be a continuous conditioning that you're currently seeing here from M80. Already a setup coming up from Caillou, but he's not throwing the grab net this time around.
Dog gets shot down. RIP. Net. Time. This Plug. Just have to be more aware of it. As you mentioned, he even got the op around here in Chaotic is huge, and he gets 2.
No.
And the dog is good bait as well. And Sato just hasn't given up. He's just hopping away. Annihilation grab. Can't dodge the net. Can't dodge the annihilation. M82 versus 3. Hookah, a clear threat. Caillou dealt with, and Plug now in a lead.
That said, though, it was an op that came out that kind of caught M80 off guard here. Chaotic playing a lot further back with the op on the Yoru, and now M80 could start pulling out the strat book to try to push him away from that spot. So maybe leveraging a little bit more of Okeanos in the very beginning to try to figure out where this op could be. But right there, you're running out in the open. You didn't expect it. Chaotic gets a nice little timing on that swing. It starts off now. It seems to be a flash towards Showers and then Sato to move through, as that will allow for him to get one orb closer at least to the overdrive if needed.
Chaotic is so clean with it. And now the dog up from B through a teleport. You feel pretty secure on the defense when it comes to the Shower side. M80 just funneling all through one path, through a short. It will be there, spotted by Sacred, who's going to stay safe in U-Haul. Even Plug dropping from on the other side of the box. Bao gets netted. There's a nade. May have even got some damage in the boom bot. Gets blocked off by the barrier. So now M80 trying to fire back. It's trades. It's B-Dog having to dance on the other side of the box before Caillou wraps around through U-Haul. Huge double kill. Annihilation looks for the last player, and it's Teague with a flash remaining, rotating from B.
And that's totally fine to use the Annihilation, because now at this point you have to delay it enough for the two players to play a buddy system, although the reload is now given away. I was going to say you still have Orb Strike and a Molly, but now the reload is good for Teague to go for this play.
One and not the second. Good effort out of Teague. And it's back and forth we go, but hey, at least Plug were able to stop the win streak out of M80 when we started this half, because you didn't. But now M80 are back in the driver's seat. It is tied, but they still have a better half going on.
That's what I was gonna say. I think the streak might continue again now for M80 because the economy's broken this time around for Trusted Plug. But look at this. This is my Vietnamese pride right here. Chaotic going for the flick off the slide of the Neon, and somehow Chaotic turns around over its heels back in favor of M80 with this control play in the back of U-Haul. And now with the lower econ that you have out of Trust and Plug, M80 are reading this correctly to start towards the weaker side of that map. But Sato thinks otherwise, trying to have them push forward, maybe try to punish them at that point. But all of them are staying towards the spawn and looking for the punish.
Maybe there was a thought of having Sato go for the orb to get overdrive, and kind of hesitated. Didn't get kind of any initial picks. Didn't want to feed a rifle to Plug, and at least I made it equalize. They have the spike picked up. They're starting to be decided. They could play off the Viper wall towards A, or even use it as a fake, and it is the latter.
Small mistake coming out from the star player from Sato, though. Backing up like that, you have to keep your gun face back towards the Showers.
Oh, that's a lot of people trying to get into Hookah. Chaotic is down for the count. And Plug still have to rotate from A, so not having that shotgun in a good position already. And there's a pit from M80. This is double cooked. But maybe there's a silver lining of, okay, you got one off out if you're Plug.
Mean, this is Satchel Bucky right into the pit that could catch somebody off guard, and that could start unraveling for M80 on the defense.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, the shotgun goes 1 for 1. You'll take it. Any damage is very much appreciated. And there's that round, and a beautiful post plant by the pit there of Bao, and M80 get a leg up, but can they continue to stand? This was, what, an 8-4 half in favor of Plug, and the leads just keep going back and forth.
Yeah. We're going that at least that small mistake was easily taken care of, with everybody else here from M80 staying back towards the spawn. But now we move into the next round where the op is back in the hands of Chaotic. They have a Euro 2 for the retake, and they also have double aggression, as Sacred has the Clove ult at this point. They have a very strong util for the retake on this side of Trust and Plug, as well as an aggressive angle they could take with the op.
Okay, the Sonic Sensor caught Sato for a second. Overdrive ready. Really slowed, but not too bothered. M80 throw a barrier on the other side. They kind of draw a lot of fire, make a lot of noise for Plug, and plant goes down while the smokes are in place. Sacred is going to contest in U-Haul. No Sato is there. Caillou ready for a trade. M80 can just play time, but now Plug are getting aggressive off the Clove ults. And Mikey wraps around, try and pinch the players that are stuck in U-Haul. And M80 don't have any space to work with, but they do got some good guns. And it's coming down to the remnants of both sides, 2v2. With Caillou, an important win against Sacred. And M80 getting up to 11.
That is an amazing round for both teams once again. The stall that you currently have, even the setup from Trusted Plug in the very beginning. Just look at the yacht playing back towards the cubby, but they're still using the same conditioning of having somebody jump spot towards Octagon. So that if he has to fall back, they try to chase after him, but then at least the yacht from Chaotic would hit players down. And when there's no pressure, the TP comes across, they wall to prevent the plant from coming down, and it has to come down to an instant brawl off the post plant from both of these teams. And M80 was strong in the baits and the trades that came through here in that post plant. And now they're 2 rounds away of making it through playoffs, and Trust and Plug have to go into an eco once again. So they have to now play 3 rounds potentially in a row to push this into overtime. But they've done it before, just like they did against YFP yesterday. And now let's see at least if their eco could upset M80.
Plug have all their deadlock util all over A, and it still just wasn't enough to slow Sato, and that was going to be the big question. What could Plug do to shut down that duelist? Now M80 can really take over the site, starting with the dog all the way through U-Haul, using the Viper wall to walk up if needed. Check the box too. The net does grab someone in U-Haul, as M80 have to address one problem at a time, and they dispose of Sacred. Smokes in place, and with the net still affecting Jerwin, M80 get a safe plant. Now what's the reaction of Plug? Jerwin will stay put in showers because of that shotgun, and Chaotic is rotating over, supporting fire. A lot of angles taken from Plug, but just needs some favorable picks, and it's just not working with the weaponry that they had. The setup from M80, their offense has been relentless. And a second away from going up to match point, series point. It's Mikey 1v3. And Sato with the shutdown.
It all comes down to this, a very important round out here for Trust and Plug. An important remaining 3 rounds potentially to push this into overtime, as we just mentioned. But this is playoffs on the line for the underdogs of Trust and Plug. They thankfully here still have Annihilation and the Yoru ult to take with. And yeah, clean shots coming out from Mikey. You need these type of shots to come through in your low gun rounds to still give you that confidence and the edge to want to continue to fight. And that confidence to push this into overtime. They're pinging all of this U-Haul. So far, if you're looking at this here, Lemon Kiwi, is the amount of value that Caillou is currently getting with the grab net that he throws so that Sato can move through. Yes, they tried to have the Bucky from Jerwin earlier on, and he didn't want to tap into removing that net, hoping that somebody would run into his crosshair. But that said, if that's going to be the case of them going for that same type of play, I think they're going to try to play a little bit more towards the front of that site, the front of APC, the front of what people call cubby or ninja. I call it towels because there's a towel on the double box, and play in that area just to try to break the timing that M80 would have rushing into the U-Haul.
Yeah, these nets, these setups, I mean, M80 are just a well-oiled machine, and it took a lot of fight out of Plug to have, what, multiple 6-6 halves in the map 1 and map 2. The Plug even having a better start on this one, 8-4 to M80. Just needing to finish this off, and it's a first blood for Okeanos. Sacred won't give up, and Chaotic is by his side. Now the stuns, the util. Dog versus Yoru. And it's another flash as Okeanos needs to be huge here, and Sacred will catch him. We're left to the 4 versus 3 in favor of that defense, where Sacred wraps around, and he's dealt with. M80, though, are surrounded. There's only smokes, and now an Annihilation is going to grab someone. Chaotic goes to search for the rest of M80. We're currently getting netted up. The spike is down, and Bao is just shooting blind through the smokes. Now blinded for sure by the flash.
One enemy remaining.
And Teague and Chaotic thought they had good map control, but who's this coming through a short? It's Caillou and Bao, the teamwork that makes the dream work, and it's 13-9, sending M80 to playoffs.
Oh man, what a play and comeback by M80 after what started to be so one-sided for Trust and Plug on the first half. What was it, 7-8-1? And they were able to come back, salvage an 8-4 half, and then show an impressive attack side and great protocols into the chaotic fights that came through here on M80's attack side. Yes, there was a great attempt by Tip to try to fight back in those moments and anchor up towards that side of the defense, but M80 is able to power through. But man, did both of these teams give us a series to witness.
That really was a huge effort out of Trust and Plug to not only go to map 3 against YFP and win yesterday, but to go to map 3 against M80 and almost win it out. But congratulations to M80 to not get tripped up after a tough end of season schedule with Qbert and Shopify Rebellion Black. That really humbled them and made you wonder how was that going to work. And then integrating Sato, which was awesome to see. This was what a day of things that were unexpected and expected. At the end of the day, it's M80 in playoffs that continue to carry the banner of their legacy. But
and Sierra's wrong.
Yeah, you know, we couldn't forget about the most important thing of Sierra's wrong. We'll see what she thinks about this, though, after the break.
Well, the only one on the team that I've 1v1 was Derek, because he, like, kept shit-talking me on, like, opping. I fucking cooked his ass, dude. I did not want to hear it from him. Probably Derek, yeah, probably Derek. He's done it once with me. I think he's done it with other people on the team as well. Like, I think, like, that's just, like, his thing, bro. He just likes it.
Alvin, if we lose a round and then the next round we're on like eco or something, he's like, well, I'm gonna go swing wide with my deagle, just take a 1. And sometimes he's good for 3, so yeah, that's how he plays. Like, he's on Kovacs.
Oh my god, Redux instantly. As soon as he loses something, he's instantly asking to 1v1. Yeah, I can't beat him, so there's nothing I can do about it.
Probably Paint. He's the guy who's always in the range. He's always, like, you know, looking for the 1v1 fights. I gotta say it's him.
I'd say Snarly. This guy always wants to fight, man. He's always looking for a fight, or maybe even Timo, being like a duelist player. But I think I'll stick with my first enter, Snarly. He's always looking for a fight. He's like, yo, give him my 1. I'm gonna go peek this. I'm gonna go peek that. I give it to Snarly. He's got some good confidence.
Definitely Alum. His personality is very silly, so he seems to be the one who's gonna call somebody out, you know, and like, yo, just 1v1 me, bro. I see him doing it. I can see him doing it.
Probably Recoil. He's definitely our best aimer by far, and he understands how to take, like, isolate ones perfectly, and I feel like in a 1v1, he's probably ripping someone's head off, to be honest.
I'd say it'd probably be moves. He'd probably want to square up with me or something if I made a bad call or something.
I think Penny, he's ultra confident. You know, I think he could take down anybody. So he's like, if you're gonna lose somebody, you'd be like, nah, that was an accident. Well, let me get the 1v1.
It was definitely scary there for a moment for any M80 fans in the chat. Down 1-8 at one point, but they rally back. They take the map, And with that, M80 are in the playoffs. I mean, this was a series that we really had to dig deep here, Ash, for these teams to figure out who is going to be the final one to take a spot. But well played to both. But M80, more well played to them, I guess.
Or is it going to be the classic M80 story where they've consistently been able to make it deep in all of these, and all obviously very consistently being represented at Ascension for the NA region and continuing to propel themselves forward with this new roster? They were looking really good in the server. I think on Bind, again, the casters were talking about it was crazy that Trust and Plug started up 8-1 and then somehow only managed a singular round on their attacking side.
8-1, and we thought that it's just wait, go ahead.
Oh, I was saying on defense.
We thought it was gonna be over when we saw that 8-1 for Trust and Plug. It just seems like they finally figure out what M80 were doing on the other side. But then, I mean, the least that we can expect, and that is the perfect answer for M80. When you have such a strong coaching staff from Drew Spark, that was part of Sentinels before, and from Psycho, that has been now for M80 for a little bit, but also Sentinels. I think it just plays out so well for this team. There was a pause right after that round number 9, and then it seems like there was a clear understanding on how M80 wanted to play this out. They get the last 3 rounds of the defense, and they go on a roll. In a second half, for Trust and Plug could only get 1 defensive round, so it was so well done at M80. Again, the team that we expected to win here, but they were put in an uncomfortable situation for a little bit. I'm glad that they were able to solve it, right? We mentioned it would not be playoffs without this team.
Not even just uncomfortable for a little bit, but with 14 first kills on the side of Trust and Plug, definitely having in that, all right, we got to clutch up, boys situation, maybe more than they would want to. But when those moments came up, I mean, M80, they were shooting across the board. Like, we have heavily praised Sato, of course, coming into this roster, and Sato didn't have a bad game, like in terms of like impact, but across the board, everyone, I feel, Ash, just had such a big step up, and I don't know, these shots were just clean, honestly.
Yeah, being able to turn things up in this last map of today to make or break their playoffs run, right? That potential to even get to this point. But you also have to give, the kudos to Trust and Plug for honestly looking really dominant at times throughout this series as well. It ends up being in the favor of M80, who in another fashion, you have to be respectful of like the resilience that they've had to be able to come back from such like a big deficit here on binds. But everyone on the team stepping up, like you were saying, playing their piece of the puzzle. It felt like the synergy was really coming together with the ideas that M80 were putting into this server there once they were able to break that loss streak.
And I mean, we got to talk about, one of the masterminds behind these ideas who also just had such an insane fragging impact in the server. Talk about Caillou, because this was just insanity across the board. Some of these shots near the end. I mean, Dan, what couldn't he do?
Yeah, it's amazing. And this was actually a pick that I was questioning a little bit, the deadlock that we've seen now since, I mean, this deadlock pick on Vine it started here in Challengers North America. I still remember the day the Turtle Trope picked the deadlock, people were downing, and then it became meta. Then people started playing it less and less. We're opting for a couple of different things, especially that Vice. But now it seems like some teams are still wanting to keep it, and Caillou is showing exactly why the utility was really great onto holding on to the sides, but also just, as you said, the fragging power from this player on this last map, especially to close it out, was so good.
Yeah, he had so much impact when it came to those grab nets coming down. It felt like they were landing almost all of the time, catching like at least 1, sometimes 2 or 3 players in it. And the difference that was able to make to set himself up for those picks, not even just like going in on his own, right? There was consistent follow-up from the team if a trade was needed. It was just very beautifully synergized there from M80.
It was so well done. So let's talk to the man of the hour and talk to Caillou now for our post-match interview after that insane 3-map series. Congratulations on the win. It took all 3 maps, but you've officially won. You're in playoffs. How are you feeling?
Feeling good, thank you. It was a little bit of a rough start at the beginning.
course, nerves and we gotta get the ball rolling. But once we got it rolling, obviously it paid off.
You're talking about nerves. Is that just knowing that this run can end? Because looking at the caliber of team that M80 is, I'm surprised to hear that nerves were a factor at this stage.
Sometimes it's less of nerves and more of like passion. I would say like it takes us a little bit to get going as a team, and be loud. After first map, once we realized and we talked to Drew, and Drew said we need to be loud. I specifically took it upon myself as a leader, to really push these guys to the limits, screaming every round. One round, my mom came in my room on in the middle of a round on Lotus and told me to quiet down. It was quite funny, but really screaming and getting the energy live and active.
It really is like that. Mom, I'm clutching over here. You don't
Yeah.
understand energy. I mean, it's an impact that we did get to see that turnaround on. And even I want to talk about that last map of Bind, because at one point you guys were down 1-8. Things were kind of looking rough. Like, how do you then rally the team to have such a drastic turnaround and close out so strong?
Our attack has always been really good. So is our defense. But we knew, no matter what, like I said, the energy that we came in with, no matter what we do, right or wrong play, it's always the right play. We're losing rounds. It's fine. We're going to bring it back. And I kept telling these guys, we're going to win this match. I promise you. Just win me pistol. That's all I need. Win me pistol and we'll win the rounds. Trust each other with confidence. And that's exactly what we did. I think we were the better team, after those rounds, even after losing going down 8-1, we came out on top. And
Really strong.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, sorry, you're cooking over here. I just want to say, I applaud that leadership coming out from you, because seeing that turnaround was incredible. And I want to know then how that extends so late in the season with obviously having these changes, Sato finally getting the visa onto the team, and how to make sure that he's comfortable now stepping into the team so late in the split.
Yeah, at the beginning it was we had to go through 7 maps in 3 days. It was kind of hard for us, and after the loss to Shopify, we really took a step back and said okay, we have a little bit of time. We got to simplify our comps right now. It might get a little bit more crazy during playoffs when we have some more time, but keep Sato very comfortable. And if Sato's comfortable, he's cooking, he's frying, and it's nice to watch. I love that guy. I love my entire team though. Shout out to everyone.
We've been anticipating Sato's arrival here for M80 so much, so that is just fantastic here. And you're saying that once things a bit more comfortable, cooking for playoffs. So I'm curious. I want to hear your thoughts on how you think M80, now that you have this form together and with a little bit more time, how you think this team's going to fare going up against everyone else.
I think right now we're playing at 60%, and once we get our comps down, and like I said, we can maintain that high energy from map 1 throughout the entire day. I think we're gonna stomp everyone. We're gonna play very well as long as we maintain with those goals.
Looking forward to it. Congratulations on this win. Congratulations on playoff. Go get some rest. You guys deserve it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Back over to the desk. Dan with the full cat takeover over here. No chill.
Surely I have time to move her before the interview is done.
Hey, there were some big words coming out there. I don't blame her for wanting to listen in. I mean, yeah, Dan is said this is a team at 60%, and if that's so, I cannot wait to see them at their 100.
And I gotta say,
Neither
he
could
was
she.
so well spoken, by the way. It was really impressive. Sometimes I hear players that are just kind of, you can tell that they're just saying what is coming to their mind first, which is great. But for him, it was very well thought, supporting the team, talking about the team, shouting out everybody. Aura is actually, this is you got it wrong, is agreeing with me, but I really like to see that. This is what you want to hear from a leader, and I think when you have a leader like him, give me a second.
Yeah, because I'm sure you're saying
when
awesome things, but I'm so distracted.
When you have a leader like him, and you also have such a good coaching staff on Drew Spark and Psycho, it seems like a dream. I mean, he was talking about it. He was shouting them out in one of the pauses that they had and what they needed to do, and how Drew Spark was saying, be louder. I mean, if Drew Spark knew about something, is to be loud when he was part of Sentinels, and Psycho as well. So I think when you have that formula for success, and you need to keep the team going, have the energy high, know that this is playoffs and you're everything is at stake, then you have such a good leader like Caillou, I mean, you have everything. So now I feel like my expectations for playoffs and for what M80 is going to be able to do are so much higher after hearing that.
Yeah, I love getting that little just snippet of the behind the scenes, the comms of let's get louder, and you guys win this pistol and we're going to win this out. I promise you, and being able to follow through on that. And I love that just positive mentality coming across from the team, where things could have maybe been a little bit dire for this team. You have these changes. not many teams have to go through that so late in things. So looking at this bracket, it's been up and down for the team, but they have their final 5. They get to move on into the playoffs. Great stuff coming out from them. There is still one more match remaining. That is on the side stream. Nightblood Gaming and Core are going head to head right now. 1-1 in the series here, Ash, to try and get that final spot.
Yeah, it's a scary one, I think, for Nightblood versus Core. I feel like it was a pretty dominant first map for the side of Core. Nightblood were able to clap back, and now they're on Lotus for the last map that just started. You guys can check that out for the watch party. But that's the last spot that we're looking for. Otherwise, you look at everyone who's qualified so far. Rankers, we haven't seen them in a hot minute because it was so long ago.
They honestly,
that qualified, which is just insane for them. They've gotten a chance now to also watch all of these teams play, vying for their own qualification. Cook in the background here as well, and I think that for the most part, who we're seeing up in the playoffs is pretty much expected. I think Winthrop definitely looking like a dark horse, though.
Still, what happened with that Winthrop game, I know that I predicted them, but that was still just such a fashion to win out in.
Yeah.
And again, a true testament that you really just don't know what's going to be happening out here in the great world of Challengers, which I love. But that is it for the main broadcast here. Again, there is still that final match resolution happening on the side streams to make sure to check out. But that is it for us for today. Make sure to be tuning in Monday as we're going to be kicking off the playoffs here to see who's going to get those Ascension points. Because again, that is the goal of all of this. Make it to Ascension and be that next success story. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We'll see you Monday. Have a good night.
And they have to wake up now. You had the Trust and Plug match where you could say it was an off day, but this is the last chance. And YFP are losing 1 by 1. And who is going to push back this off? And now there's a shotgun in the back pocket. And YFP just can't shoot back. Viable to go to B. And that spike is being pulled that direction. The Vice Util can only delay so much. And Thief no longer with us. And Stellar as the Rolling Thunder. This could be that the piece of la resistance.
Yeah.
There it is, though. It doesn't prevent the plant, but they couldn't really capitalize on killing Infiltrator, who got hit by that, and the showstopper put fear in the eyes of YFP.
HP
no.
So
They're just 1 round away from being over. It's the double kill for the Infiltrator. And Stellar has to be brilliant in the 1v3. That is the end of YFP. No.
Use all of your ults on both sides, and now it's that point for M80 to fight towards Rumble one more time.
Can M80 break the spirits of Plug and the win streak they were on? And they are breaking them up this round. P-Dog just cooked them. This is Mikey in a 1v5. We just started, and this is about to be over. With the plant that goes through. Mikey has to overcome the impossible but Plug really prioritize showers when they want A. No one at A short though, so just gonna funnel their way through all into a grab net and flashes, and Plug dismantled, putting all the eggs in the shower basket, I guess. Plug are missing out on a lot and not able to fight back against M80 in any way until Sacred just waits out the barrier, and it's an ace from Caillou. You will mold, and they